of people, the density of India's population is high. So land is very, very precious, very, very scarce in India. About half the land which is used for agriculture, for farming, does not get good irrigation facilities. It's dependent on the monsoon. That's why everybody prays to Lord Indra. No? From the farmer in the field to the finance minister, everybody is praying to Lord Indra. अच्छा बारिश होना चाहिए 2 साल बारिश हुए हैं. Last year there were 52 farmers who committed suicide every day. That's why in this budget you see how the government is saying how they need to spend more money on rural India, on irrigation, on rural roads, on farmers, so that their income doubles in the next 5 years. Now, one of the early decisions that were taken by the present government was that on the 30th of December 2014, the president's New Year party was disrupted a little bit. The finance minister came and said, you have to sign this ordinance. ये अध्यादेश के ऊपर आप दस्तखत कीजिए. Why? We have to change 13 laws to keep them in tune with the new law on land acquisition. This new law had been enacted just a little before the elections in the year 2013. And this was a law on which all parties agreed. This was a law to change a law which is more than 100 years old, the Land Acquisition Act, which gave the right to whoever was in power to acquire land, fertile farmland as well, for industrial purposes. Now, the whole idea for the first ordinance was that you had many other laws that had to be aligned with this law, so you needed an ordinance. But then when people started reading that ordinance, he said, "Bhai, ye dal mein to kuch kala hai. You want to change the way you acquire land? You have to have something called a social impact assessment. कि आप किसी का ज़मीन खरीद रहे हैं, किसका फ़ायदा हो रहा है, किसका नुकसान हो रहा है? What is in the public interest? Is it a private hospital or a private educational institution which may or may not allow the children of the poor and the underprivileged to get their medical treatment or get their education?" Then you said, no, we will give the farmer a lot of compensation. We'll give him 4 times the amount of the market, of the official value of the land. Magar usi mein bhi to dal mein kala aa gaya, kyunki when land is transacted in India, nobody uses that official figure. Because all this money, all the transactions take place in black money. So if you actually suppress the value of that land to 1/4 of what its actual value is, and then say, I'll give you 4 times, you're actually giving the farmer or the owner of the land exactly what that person gets. तो बहुत चिल्ला चिल्ली शुरू हो गया. Rahul Gandhi बोला सूट बूट का सरकार. People said, how can you do this? So there was a committee set up. The ordinance was re-promulgated. एक बार हुई, दूसरी बार हुई. Everybody knew that the Bharatiya Janata Party has a majority in the Lok Sabha, but it doesn't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha. And to change a law, you need the concurrence of both houses of parliament. The Rajya Sabha is a different body, and the way things are at present, maybe in the next 3 years, the ruling party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, may not have a majority in the upper house of parliament. So then how do you enact this law? So you have another ordinance. Then you have a third time the ordinance. And then suddenly, our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, realized, no, you're not going to be able to get through. Just because you have a majority in the Lok Sabha, it doesn't mean you can change a law that affects large numbers of people unless you have a political consensus. You are acquiring land. Land belongs to farmers, land which is fertile. You want to use that land for non-agricultural purposes, for industrial purposes, for whatever purposes. To enact a law like this, you need political consensus. तो मोदी जी realized that, और फिर मन की बात बोला कि ठीक है हम और अध्यादेश नहीं करूँगा. It's the same story with the GST. If you need to change the laws of the land, if you need to enact laws, and not just enact laws, but implement laws, You need political consensus. You have a law against child labor. You have a law about which year women can get married. But those laws are not implemented. Why are they not implemented? Because you've not been able to change society. It's one thing to enact a law. It's another thing to be able to enforce and implement that law effectively. So the story goes on. And unless and until you, the youth of this generation, you are the future of this country, not me. When I'm dead and gone, it's you who'll have to wake up and protect the rights of ordinary citizens against those who will abuse their power, their discretionary authority, to deprive ordinary people the benefits of what Mother Nature has given them. देखिए, इसमें पूंजीवाद समाजवाद का बात नहीं होते हैं. We live in a very complex world. What is capitalism? What is socialism? Is the People's Republic of China capitalist or socialist? When General Motors had to be bailed out by money that belonged to the taxpayer of the US in 1998 in the Wall Street, was General Motors a public sector company or a private sector company? In the 4 or 5 Scandinavian countries, the government spends a huge amount of money on healthcare, on education, on the physical infrastructure. High tax to GDP ratios. Do they call themselves socialists? No, they call themselves social democrats, some of them. So I'm not even getting into our notions of what is capitalism, what is socialism, but I'm saying we need transparency. पारदर्शिता का बहुत ज़रूरत है. Otherwise, there will be corruption. Otherwise, there will be abuse of power. And I do believe that it's your generation who will ensure that those who are in power in India, they are answerable for their actions. It's not just the media. It's not just the judiciary. It is not just the Controller and Auditor General of India. It is not just institutions like the Election Commission of India. It is civil society. It is citizens. It is you. It is your power, the youth power, that will ensure that those who we elect as our representatives, those who are holding important positions in the bureaucracy, in the government, that they act in a manner that benefits more people, the majority of the people. अगर आपको लगा कि मैं आशावादी नहीं हूँ, मैं बार बार कहता हूँ मैं बहुत आशावादी हूँ. I'm an eternal optimist because I have faith in you. Because I know that sometimes when you look around you and things look very, very bleak, very, very difficult to negotiate, it's very easy to be cynical, to believe nothing will change. But no. Remember, the darkest hour is always just before the dawn. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, sir, for that extremely enlightening speech of yours. You have quite brilliantly shown us the nexus that exists between corporates and the state, where governments act virtually as holdings of big businesses. We appreciate your incisive speech and academic scholarship. May I request everyone, and I believe that that speech was one which calls for a standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Those of you who would like to pose questions to sir, you're more than welcome to join us in the Authors' Lounge a little later. I will now request our President, Dr. Siraj Ajmali sir, to deliver the vote of thanks, please.
وائس چانسلر صاحب، بیگم صاحبہ، ہمارے مہمان خصوصی، مہمان اعزازی، کوآرڈینیٹر CEC اور ہندوستان بھر سے تشریف لائے ہوئے نوجوان دوستوں اور ہمارے AMU کے طلباء و طالبات، بہت آسان سا لفظ ہے، آپ یہاں تشریف لائے، آپ نے اس جلسے میں شرکت کی، ہمارے مہمان خصوصی کا بہت شاندار سا خطاب سنا، اپنے سر کی آنکھوں سے ہندوستان بھر سے بہت خوبصورت ڈیبیٹنگ کرنے والوں کو سنا اور ان کو انعام لیتے اور ان کی محنت کا پھل لیتے دیکھا۔ آپ کا بہت شکریہ۔ لیکن اگر اسی بات کو پھیلا دیا جائے، چونکہ یہ موقع ایسا ہے کہ یہاں آل انڈیا سر سید میموریل ڈیبیٹ کی ابھی آپ نے اس کے انعامات کی تقسیم کا یہ جلسہ بھی دیکھا، اور اسی جلسے میں آئندہ 3 روز تک مستقلاً یہاں ہونے والے ادبی میلے لٹریری فیسٹیول کے اناگرل کا یہ شاندار آغاز بھی دیکھا، جس میں ہمارے مہمان خصوصی نے اہتمام کے ساتھ یہ بتایا کہ یہ جو نیچرل ریسورسز ہیں، یہ جو ہم کو قدرت نے چیزیں عطا کی ہیں، جن پر حق جتنا ہمارے وائس چانسلر کا، اتنا ہی ہماری یونیورسٹی کے ایک PM کا، جتنا ہمارے پرائم منسٹر کا، اتنا ہی ہمارے ایک معمولی سویپر کا، یعنی برابر سے سب کا حق ہے۔ بھئی سورج کی روشنی ہو، کہ ہوا ہو، کہ پانی ہو، کہ زیر زمین جو فائدے کی ساری چیزیں ہیں وہ ہوں، یا آسمان سے نازل ہونے والی تمام خوبصورت چیزیں ہوں، بارش ہو، پھل ہوں، ان پر جتنے نیچرل ریسورسز ہیں ان پر اختیار کسی ایک فرد واحد کا یا اس کے خاندان کا ہو جائے تو یہ کتنا زبردست جرم ہے، اور اس کے لیے کیا کیا سزا ہو سکتی ہے۔ کس قدر خوبصورت انداز میں کتنے پہلوؤں کو آپ کے سامنے پیش کیا، اور ایک ذہین آدمی، ایک صاحب علم، ایک سوچنے والا آدمی جب کچھ کہتا ہے تو اس کی ایک بات سے 1000 پہلو نکلتے ہیں، اور ان 1000 باتوں سے 1000 طرح کے افکار اور خیالات جنم لیتے ہیں۔ اور پھر وہی بات کہ جہاں سے میں نے آپ کا استقبال کرتے ہوئے سلسلہ شروع کیا تھا، سردار جعفری کے لفظوں میں، گفتگو بند نہ ہو، بات سے بات چلے، صبح تک شام ملاقات چلے۔ تو یہ سلسلہ پرسوں تک دراز رہے گا۔ آپ کا استقبال بھی ہے اور آپ کا شکریہ بھی۔
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thakurta's books are available at the rear end of the pandal. You're more than welcome to utilize this glorious opportunity to buy those books and get it signed by Sir himself. So please feel welcome to take those books. We will now break for a namaz break and meet at 6:30. After which we will have the book launch of a book called Charcoal Blush by Miss Diba Salim Irfan. After which we will have a musical evening. So we will have a namaz break now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sirs. Participants of the debate, you may collect the certificates from somewhere here. You may collect the certificates from us. Thank you.